And here's what I predict. In a couple of days, on Thursday night, right here in Iowa, in the heartland of America, you're going to say, enough is enough. We've had enough. We want our country back. We want our democracy back. You're going to say, we're together, going to stand up and rise up together. We're going to fight for our children, fight for our grandparents, fight for the legacy of our parents and our grandparents. We're going to start a tidal wave of change, a tidal wave of change, a tidal wave of change that begins right here in Iowa and sweeps across this country with a force that cannot even be imagined. And when that tidal wave is finished, and it has driven through the change that this country needs, what you're going to be able to do, every single one of you, is you're going to say, we stood up, we spoke out, we rose up, and you're going to be able to look your children in the eye and say, we did for you what our parents and grandparents did before us. We made absolutely certain that you had a better life than we had, and that we left America better than we found it. God bless you all. Thank you for coming. We're glad to take you back.
I know John's going to take questions because he always takes questions, which is great. Kind of the way it used to operate, right? Before we do, I wanted to say something. As he was talking, you think I hear the speech and hear him speak every time, and it always seems exactly the same. But it doesn't. Always something new occurs to me. And I was thinking, as I was listening today, I was thinking, you got a lot of reasons to go to caucus. You feel an obligation or responsibility to it. You get a great opportunity to do it. John gave you some reasons. James Lowe is a good reason. Natalie and Sarkeesian, the young 17-year-old girl who didn't get the liver transplant she deserved. The women who speak to me, the veterans who stand in line for health care, wait 6 months for it, or sleep on a grate because they don't have a home. I bet if we pass this microphone around the room, every one of you could tell me the name of a human being whose life would be better if the government worked for them instead of working for the corporations around us. When you decide to go to caucus and you decide to stand with a candidate, you need to think not just about your obligation and not even really about electability and other things like that, which I do hope are part of your consideration, but I want you to think about that person and who you want to be the champion, the person you know who most needs government to work for them. I'm confident you will. I hope that if you're an undecided voter, you raise your hand, you ask a question just about that person and what this man will do to change their lives.
Question, please. Why don't we start with this lady right here. Tell me your name if you don't mind. Each of you ask questions.
I'm from Ames, Iowa. My question is about Colin Powell. Would you consider working with him? And is there a place in your cabinet for him?
Was it, did you say Colin Powell or Cole and Power?
The man.
The man. I've actually been on several programs with former Secretary Powell. I think he is a good man. I tell you what I've done. I don't want to talk about any specific individual that I would consider either in the cabinet or in some other important position of responsibility. I will say to you, because everyone deserves to know this, you deserve to know the kind of people that I would surround myself with in an Edwards administration, and I can tell you that. I've thought a great deal about the people that I would consider for the cabinet positions. I've made lists for the major cabinet positions. And the way I think about it is I'm looking for people who are talented, bright, strong, and independent. I do not want to be surrounded by a bunch of yes people. I don't want people around me telling me how smart I am or how great I am. I think we've actually seen the consequences of that for the last 7 years, haven't we? I mean, I want somebody who will say to me, you're wrong. You can't do that. This is what you haven't considered. You need to think about this. Think about this consequence that you haven't taken into consideration. I want people who will actually challenge me. The other thing I would raise, just because it comes up sometimes, is the issue of the vice presidency. I have also made a list of people at this moment who I would consider for vice president. That list could change, but I've made a list. That's a different thing, because there are a couple of criteria that have to be met. Number one, they have to actually be prepared to step into the presidency on a moment's notice. Second, they have to be able to have the same vision for America that I have. Because when I'm elected president, what that means is the American people have voted for that vision. And that means if I'm not able to finish my term, that person needs to be able to finish that vision. So those are the things that I would think about.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This gentleman right behind you.
Yeah, my name is Larry Reich. I'm one of the 40% of Iowa people that are independent voters. My question is this. In the history of our country, since the Civil War, we've had 5 to 7 candidates get on the ballot in our states to be elected president. Those weren't all Democrats or Republicans.
Right.
But yet corporate America and the elites that run our Commission on Presidential Debates have chosen that they will only let in the candidate that is Republican or Democrat into the presidential debates. My question is, if you get the nominee of your party, and it comes time for the presidential debates, which you will negotiate who you will debate and not, will you agree to debate the other people that are on the ballot that American people can vote for and have the right to listen to, such as the independent candidate, Constitution Party, Libertarian, Green Party? Will you agree to debate those people also?
No. Because I think that it depends on, first of all, it depends on how serious a candidate there are. I don't know if you're aware of this, there are hundreds of people running for President of the United States right now. And But I'm sorry, let me finish responding. I think the problem is this, and this has nothing to do with excluding people, it has to do with a very practical issue. If you have a legitimate chance of being President of the United States, yes, you should be participating in the debate. You remember Ross Perot participated in the debates when he was an independent candidate for president. I think as long as you have a legitimate chance, yes. But what you can't do is flood the stage with 15 or 20 people and for an hour and a half debate, because nobody gets anything out of that. I mean, people need to be able to hear a serious, in-depth discussion of the issues among the presidential candidates. I'd like to see the debates expanded from my perspective. So, the last few elections, we've done 3 debates for, an hour and a half each. And my view is that we could have more debates than that, a more expanded dialogue between the candidates. And candidates who are not Democrats or Republicans, if they're strong and viable, and they actually have some chance, yeah, I'd be open to that possibility. But I'm not open to the possibility of bringing 15 or 20 people up to the stage, because I think it dilutes the substance of the discussion.